Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Good morning, Bellows Falls, and welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty. We decided we would start the show today with our masks on to remind everybody that starting on Saturday in Vermont, the law will be mandatory masks when you're in places where you can't safely social distance. So we currently are 2 meters apart, so we're going to take off our masks and just say that here we are. It's July 29th. You should wear a mask when you can and when you should, and it shouldn't be a big deal, but sometimes I guess it is. So today we're going to have Kelley Tully on again. She's our current representative. She's running for representative again, and she's going to talk with us a little bit about what's happening now and what she hopes to accomplish in the future. Marty, we have local events.
Yeah, I just wanted to, as we were opening and we were wearing our masks, I was just going to point out that if you're looking for masks locally, one of the best places you can go is to Halliday's. They have a good
really
selection of
cool
masks,
too.
and they even have some masks that have an ability to. What is that?
I don't know. There's
Okay.
we're having a
I'm
little
gonna keep going.
disturbance here
I'm gonna keep going.
in the station.
They even have some masks that have an ability to put like a lavender scent or a mint scent in. I guess.
Oh,
so
really?
You're breathing in.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what made me think of it is I'm thinking I think it's time to wash my mask. But, so local events. Just wanted to remind everybody and hope that everybody takes advantage of the fact that both Wunderbar and Moondog have now been given permission by the town to do outdoor seating. So they've created a wonderful little section of outdoor seating on the sidewalk, and then people are directed, they've blocked off the parallel parking spaces so people can still walk past without, walking through people eating dinner. You walk past in the parking spaces, and the sidewalk is set up for some little intimate tables of 2. There's 1 or 2 tables of 4. They're all socially distanced. They put some lovely plants in between, and they've created a nice little area that's open. I think they're doing it Friday and Saturday. A nice little area for both Wunderbar and Moondog. Moondog uses it in the morning, and then Wunderbar uses it at night.
Yeah, what a great idea, huh?
I know, and kudos to the town for being progressive and allowing them to adapt, because I know that's not the normal thing. The Rockingham Rec Department has been doing drive-in movies this summer. They've been doing them on Wednesday nights, and now they're going to move them to Friday nights. So Friday nights they have free popcorn. The parking is first come, first serve. The movies start, I believe, around 8:45, and then there is some limited seating, like if you bring a chair. I think if you keep socially distanced. So that's a good thing for the summer. And I know that people have probably been missing Intercept.
Well, who hasn't?
Who hasn't? We haven't had Floyd on in a while,
Yeah,
so we'll promote for him. This Sunday, August 2nd, he's going to have a concert at Metcalf Drive in Westminster. His quote in his post was, "Bring a chair and a mask and keep socially distanced." It's from 6:30 to 8. That's Sunday, August 2nd, Metcalf Drive in Westminster.
Yeah, that's great, and I think that's coming about more. I saw Rob has been posting things of music in Putney on the weekends.
There
That
is
sounds
more.
pretty good.
There is more outdoor venues. Actually, they're doing Higher Ground in Burlington is doing. I digress a little bit from local, but they're doing a series of concerts, drive-in concerts, at the Champlain Valley Fairgrounds.
Oh, nice.
Where actually the performers are they're not, some drive-in concerts, they project the performers. I believe
No, I think
they
these
actually
are like
have the actual performers.
I think that's what's going to happen with Intercept
Yeah.
too. They're going to be on an elevated stage,
Yep.
and they're going to play, and it's going to be fun.
Great.
But
Okay.
August 11th is coming up. It's our primary election, and today we have Kelley Tully with us to talk about the election, who's running, what she's running, and all those things. Hi, Kelley.
Hello, I was following your theme.
I know, and we thank you for following the theme. That was great. But wearing a mask is nothing new to you, is it? I mean, how long were you a nurse?
Well, I actually still am a nurse. I I was
guess,
in hospital nursing for 25 years, and the last 5 in occupational health. And so I still am a nurse. I just do it differently now. So yeah, back in the day, living in a mask for 12-hour shifts was commonplace.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and again, we all of us that are used to wearing masks, it's not a foreign thing, and we kind of take it in stride. And I do know some people it's just not part of their wheelhouse and their comfort zone. But I think everybody's starting to grow on people, and people are starting to get it. But for those of us who probably don't think about it, just put it on and are used to it. And of course, there's still going to be some people around that have, they could be having breathing problems, asthmatics or COPDers that find it very difficult to wear a mask. So even as this mandatory mask, comes out, that there's going to be some people walking around, and I think we need to keep our kindness and mindful, because the people that may not be wearing them, there might be a medical reason that we don't know, and that I always carry extra masks to hand out just in case somebody just doesn't have one in there, but they would wear it if they had it. So I like that. I like Marty telling us that Halliday's has some scented masks. That would be way more pleasant than some of the masks I wear.
Yes.
So how have you been? You're out of session now?
Yes and no. We're taking a little break from our committee meetings and our house sections. But I do have many Zoom meetings a week. Certainly, this is one, but this is a fun one to get to talk to you guys. We still have our social equity caucus that we are still doing every Wednesday morning, and we do get a lot of participation from a lot of different groups of people, and we're really talking about some racial equity stuff, some heavy-duty conversations, but it's excellent. The people who the stakeholders are coming to the table, and we're talking in the different community members that are participating. It's going to get bigger and bring in some different testimony, but this is our working caucus that we've been, continually having even during the session. And another regular one we have is a workers caucus. We still, just talk about issues. They're all kind of related, but we still are keeping our hand in the pot to make sure when we get back in August, because we will be back on the 25th, that we want to be ready to go, that we don't want to have to say, oh, let's catch up where we left off. So kind of, even though we have a bookmark on that, we're going to be ready to get back and do the, address some of the hard stuff that we started talking about right before we left. So yes, I guess I'm on break, Mike.
Is that the norm for that to happen in between session, or is it unique to COVID?
Well, I think a little bit of each. I think that when you have momentum and a lot of the great folks that are representatives in the House, that from what I understand, because again, I'm new and I want to keep doing this work, that they do work over break. They do work over recess, over the summer. I mean, talking to some of the senior folks in the House, they do some of this work because, it's a lot of work to do in a few short months. So there's an element that continues throughout the year that I wasn't aware of, and I'm certainly impressed by, that the people continue to do these caucus meetings and work groups to make sure that we don't lose ground, or we continue whatever momentum we started to get the work done when we get back in session.
I can imagine that it's difficult because it takes so much to push something through that you really have to do all the groundwork now, so they get everybody on the same page, and sort of so that there's a group of people that want to do the same thing when they get back, as opposed to everybody coming back and saying, well, I wanted to do this or that or something else.
Well, absolutely, and it's amazing to me just in the learning process of going through all these and asking to be included in all these different meetings. It's really to see how many overlaps. Although I'm on Judiciary Committee, that I can join these other work groups and other caucuses that might be of interest to me or our constituents in this area that I want to make sure that I can be able to speak to. Oh, even though I might not be a huge participant, I can at least understand how we're getting to these bills and how it's happening and who is coming to the table as stakeholders to make sure that we're representing as many people and factions as absolutely possible. So that's pretty impressive. And the overlap with the different, committee people that, although it's judiciary, the committees are official, and these are, as far as they're assigned, and these other groups and caucuses are really the work that you want to do in addition to. Although, as you can imagine, the Social Equity Caucus has a direct connection to judiciary.
Yeah.
In the sense that the work that you're doing, and a lot of, I would probably say offhand, without actually counting all of them, there's probably 6 of us that are continually part of the Social Equity Caucus that are also on the Judiciary Committee in the House.
So what do you see as you come back in August? What are the big items going to be? Is it going to be more follow-up if this new stimulus package ever gets passed by the Congress? Do you think that'll be part of your tasks then, is to figure out how the state responds to that?
Well, that's a great question. I think that what we're going to do is everything. But there's so many different moving parts. I think that it's just a bigger part of what everybody in our households are feeling right now. So everybody right now is trying to get back to what our new normal, and our new normal is a moving target.
Mm-hmm.
We have, we've distributed, right around $1 billion of COVID funds to different entities within the state, for housing, for feeding people, for healthcare, for you name it. To try to get that done, that was such a huge undertaking, and I think everybody worked really long, hard hours about it. So we kind of understand how it's everything's been a moving target. We get new information weekly, and I think that's what makes it really hard for everybody. That as we go through it, people are like, well, you told me last week this is how it spread, and now this week there's something. And again, it's a moving target on some of the research that we've disseminated since, if you really think about it, February. So I think that makes it a challenge for everybody to say, just tell me what to do and I'll do it, and we would like to do that. And again, certainly you guys have worked in healthcare, and you know that sometimes it's hurry up and change, and that tends to be a comfort zone for certainly for me. Working in healthcare and working in business, the two entities that you say, well, hurry up and change, and so it's not as uncomfortable, but that's not the majority of the people that that every day, and I think that everybody's really feeling that, and we have to continue to do that from a legislative standpoint, because when we get back, there's going to be about $140 million that we have to give, have to address and give to the areas that need it. So I think in this little break that we've had, we're going to hear from different groups about, well, that wasn't quite enough money. Maybe the rest of this money that we have to allocate. And don't get me wrong, there are many strings attached, and I know that there's probably a lot of people that have been applying for these grants have realized that we want to make sure that we follow the rules of the federal government, so we can give these funds to the groups that need it to do the best work.
Yeah. Are you getting feedback like that already, though? Are you getting feedback like how much of these different grants, how many people have applied? Like, I was curious about the one about women-owned businesses, because I know 2 people that I talked to who I, after talking with you, said, oh, you should really look at this. And they were very appreciative, but I don't know where they are in the process or how that process is working. So.
Well, that's good. I was actually working before this meeting. I was working on my my first survey, because I really want to send it out to as many businesses in District 3 as I can and post it on my Facebook page to get feedback, to be able to take back and say, and I don't want to make it too overwhelming of a survey, but I think, like you said, we got to talk to the people that have applied or tried to apply, and what were the stumbling blocks? Have they started back in business? Did they bring all their employees back? What were those obstacles? And lastly, certainly, what more do they need to keep going? Because if we don't keep those small businesses in our area going, we can't keep the families working that are part of that whole process. So I think we need to hear from them, and that's why I'm hoping that then I can bring this back to them next week as soon as I get the information.
Yeah, Kevin.
We've had you on numerous times, and so hopefully our audience is familiar with you. But I'm going to guess there's probably still a few people that might not be. So what is one thing that you would want somebody that was going to the polls on the 11th to know about you when they're making a decision?
That I'm accessible, that I will listen, because I think you certainly learn more when you listen than when you speak, and that I want to bring that part of listening in our region, because I think we're a pretty special region, and we don't have the population that maybe even some parts of the rest of our county have, or certainly certain parts north of us have. And I think that we are a pretty tenacious group of people that choose to live here because we love it. We love the community. We like the enthusiasm, and I just want to make sure we stay as relevant as possible to the entire state. I mean, look at you guys. How many pots, Marty, do you have your hand in?
A few.
Or over the last probably decade. It's always a small group of people that make a difference. It's not the large group of people that make the difference. It's the people that are willing to go the extra mile and to do what's needed and roll their sleeves up, and that's kind of who we are. So I think they should know that about the resilience of me being a community member. I can't do it without everybody. We can't do it without each other. So that's why I'm hoping when they do get to the polls, hopefully I do know there's a lot of people that have already requested the absentee ballots, and to go ahead and make sure they get those in and make sure they show up at the polls. I mean, really, everybody has a say, and that's one of the things that I also want them to know is they need to get out and vote, so they feel they have a say and not feel like they just are succumbing to somebody else's decisions.
I think that is so important all the way around this year to really emphasize every voice matters.
Yeah, and it really, really, really does.
Mm-hmm.
It's just everything is so polarized now that it's 50-50. So one vote makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking about it, you should vote because you're going to count. Yeah.
Have you guys looked at the absentee ballot?
I have mine sitting on my kitchen table at home. So having looked, do you mean looked at it more than I opened it up and said, oh, this is an absentee ballot? Not much.
No, I voted. It's easy to vote in person. I find it easy to just go to the fire station and vote in person. So.
And I agree. I think that's kind of, you kind of have, it's very palpable. You're there amongst people with your mask on, of course, and hopefully hand sanitizer in your pocket if it's not available right near you. But part of I actually asked for an absentee ballot because I said, well, I've never asked for one. I've usually, like you, have shown up at the polls because it's always nice to chat with everybody and kind of catch up, and it's a social event. And right now, I think it's a great option for people to vote from the comfort of their own home and to be able to do that. But I did open it up. So this was my first time, and I kind of opened the whole thing up, and I looked at it, like you said, Mike. This is the absentee ballot, and I see that there's 3 different ballots. Yeah. You've got the Republican, the Progressive, and the Democrat ballot, and then you have 3 other envelopes. One that you put the ballot you don't want to use in, And then the one that you do want to vote, and make sure you sign it, and then you fill it out and you sign it and you put it, and so that's one envelope, the one that they're going to count. But they won't count it if you don't have the other envelopes in the
Yeah, you
packet.
gotta
So
turn
then you
in the
put
other, yeah.
all that into the return envelope. So I was like, that's many steps. So it was new to me.
I didn't know there was that many steps. I'm glad I'm voting in person. It's too many steps.
So
for me.
yes, I think I want to make a video.
Oh, that's a good idea, we should
It's
do
not a
that.
bad idea.
We should do that before the, because, like I said, I opened it up and there was all this stuff and I was like, well, I'll get to that later, and
But I
yeah.
think it's super important that people know that you have to sign and you really have to take a moment and really look at what you're doing, because you have to include it won't count if you don't have the ones you don't want in there.
Yeah,
That's-
and that
that's-
makes perfect sense when you say it, yeah, but it's like, yeah.
And that's hugely important because we actually had, at the last local election, we had Deb Fox come back afterwards to kind of explain some of the intricacies of voting with,
Overvotes and undervotes.
undervotes and the whole
Yeah.
bit. And so
I think we need to visit
we need
that
to,
again
we need to visit
too.
that again, and we also maybe do need to do a "this is how you vote" video,
Yeah, maybe that's,
PSA,
yeah.
because it's sometimes, it's just that people get, confused. It's not that people, it's a lot, like you said, it's a lot of steps, and sometimes it's like, wait a minute, I think, or it's open to maybe misinterpretation, and it's important that they know, you know how to do it,
Yeah,
so,
good, thank you for that.
yes.
You've inspired us to do another
Create
show.
a PSA.
Where are
About
we in
5 minutes.
time?
About 5
Okay.
minutes.
There was something else I wanted to say.
So we're heading back, like I said. I know we started talking about that. Some of what I want to ask the businesses is certainly is if they're getting assistance, what more do they need? And the other part of that is the money that we've allocated for human services and healthcare. So I think there's a chunk of money that's going there, but there, just so people know that there's assistance to get, if you weren't able to pay your mortgage. So you can get assistance for the mortgage portion of that, or paying your rent. There's also money available to landlords that were not able to rent their houses or apartments out during COVID because they were not up to code. So there's also a bit of money set aside, the whole housing, it kind of covers the spectrum there, so they can also apply for money to be able to get some of the folks that are in hotels now, to get them out of hotels and into homes, so they can have some housing security. So I think that's, I hope everybody knows that's available. The ACCD site has a lot of different options for people of all the funding that's available and where to apply for it. And it's all, this is grant money. This is not money that they have to pay back.
Yeah, that's another important thing, is grant money is grant money. You don't pay it back. So I know some people were with the payroll PPP, they were like, well, I don't know, because I don't know if I'm doing this, I might have to pay it back. But a lot of these are grants, and you don't have to pay them back, and you can do a lot of work. And you should go to the Vermont.gov site for all that information.
You can go to, I just want to make sure I give it to you correctly. If you're going to the Agency of Commerce and Community Development, ACCD, so it's accd.vermont.gov, and that is a resource center. You click on the COVID-19 Recovery Resource Center, and it will give you anything from certainly travel information, but any economic grants that are available, any housing grants, and any other, things that might be resources for municipalities, because there's money for municipalities as well as individuals and businesses. And the breakdown, sorry, that's my email.
That's all right, that's not a problem. It's reminding us time is passing.
Yes, and just proving how busy you still are.
Yes.
That you're not really on break, you're just maybe catching your breath a little bit.
Well, yeah, and it's exciting. I'm proud to be able to represent this region, because I think we are a special and unique area. And I can't do it without the vote. So I do want everybody, I do hope you vote for me. but at least I want everybody to get out and vote and feel like they are participating in our government, and that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, thank you, Kelly. And after you're elected, I hope you come back again, because it's great. Like you said, you are very accessible, and it's fun to talk to you, and we get a lot of good information every time we talk to you. So thank you for coming on the feed, and I think that's it for this week.
Yeah, I think we're pretty close. We're down to, yeah.
All right, and
Right.
thank you
See
again.
guys on the 11th.
Yeah, vote on the 11th. Thank you. And thank you, Bellows Falls. We'll see you next week. This is Mike and Marty.
Bye.
Bye.